It is that time of year. Denvengers, simple. Yes, sir. It is NBA playoffs time, and the Denver Nuggets getting ready to take on the Los Angeles Clippers, and we have a full house of superstars. Vogt. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about this Denver Nuggets team. We got Ryan Blackburn. We got Matt Moore. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get it!
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your team every single day, y'all. This is Swipa. We got Matt Moore, Ryan Blackburn, and we got the one, the only from DNVR, Brendan Vogt, my brother. Man, this is going to be an amazing show. First of all, Vogt, how are you today, my brother?
Oh, I'm great, man. What an awesome introduction. I really appreciated that. Usually I just get bullied by my own co-hosts and friends. So this is nice. I should do this more often. Happy to be here.
Welcome to the kindler, gentler.
Oh, yeah.
We never ever treat you wrong over here, ever.
We'll never treat you
I've
wrong.
always thought of you guys too as not just kind, but overwhelmingly positive too. Like that's just kind of your thing together. So, happy to be here.
Yeah, that's what definitely the comments say about Ryan and I. Overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
For those of you curious, because Adam Mares is usually our guest, he had some personal matters he had to attend to today. My plan was actually to get Vogt and Adam. So Vogt's actually not filling in for Adam. I was planning on getting both of them, and because that's how much I've enjoyed Vogt's perspective and coverage of the Nuggets this season. Every time that Vogt has something to say on the Nuggets, I've just been like, that's really smart. That's really insightful. That's really good. So he's been really on top of it this season. And so I'm glad Brendan could join us today.
Yeah.
Thanks. I always check it against what you guys are saying to make sure I don't sound like an idiot. So I'm glad.
Well, look, this is going to be an amazing episode. We got a lot of stuff to get into, y'all. But, y'all, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. All right, let's get straight into it, y'all. So, the Denver Nuggets, we are at a brand new point in the season where the NBA playoffs are about to begin. They're about to take on the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, the Terminator, looks healthy. James Harden, maybe an all-NBA player. Vika Zubac, maybe an all-NBA player this year. Maybe DPOY. Chris Dunn, Derek Jones Jr., Nicholas Batum, Norman Powell. They have a loaded roster. Tyronn Lue is one of the best coaches in the NBA. This is going to be quite the challenge, especially, y'all, given, I think it was a week and a half ago, the Denver Nuggets fired their head coach and GM and coach Michael Malone and Calvin Booth. And now we're in a situation where David Adelman has taken the reins as the Denver Nuggets head coach. But Ryan, based on what you've seen and what you've been hearing, it looks like the vibes and the energy, are they higher than they've been at any point this season so far?
Without a doubt. And I'm very conflicted about it because I wrote a story earlier today at MHS of like, hey, Denver kind of procrastinated this thing, man. They didn't necessarily have to do what they've done. They could have locked in a little bit sooner. They could have treated Michael Malone and everybody in that building with a little bit more respect than I think that they did. But now it's over. Now you are turning the page, and you kind of have to. You're being forced to in this situation. And David Adelman, I think, has really struck a chord, or at least they're as a group striking the right chords in terms of communication, accountability, responsibility for what you're supposed to be doing now. And there's nothing like the playoffs. There's nothing like a winner go home situation to really put you into that perspective. So like there's a lot of positivity and a lot of accountability at Ball Arena right now. And it's kind of wild to see the differences between just now and a couple weeks ago.
Matt, what about you? What do you think about some of the new energy in life and some of the quotes you're seeing out of the Denver Nuggets side?
I mean, there's a certain sense of like, I'm not surprised, right? That if things were so bad and so toxic and you had tuned out your coach, then him being gone is going to give you a boost. And I think that Adelman just being a new voice is probably going to increase some things. Adelman has also, I think, a part of this is Adelman has more reign here to do whatever's necessary, which I think is what the players were kind of asking for, is instead of the things that had gotten Malone so much respect in terms of protecting the veterans and like holding certain rhythms and practices, for the team to be like, those weren't working. We need something different. We got to change things. We got to do whatever it is necessary in order to get us to where we want to go. And Adelman, I think, has a lot more free reign to do that because Kroenke came in and was basically like, you're fired. You're fired. Everyone, I fired your GM and your coach. Get it together. And so like, there's kind of this like lights of fire under him. Do I think that it should have taken that? No, personally, I don't think it should have required that, given what was in front of them, but that doesn't matter because what's here is now. Like what matters is now, and now they are playing with more verve, with more attention to detail, with more energy, more effort. We said this after the Kings game, which is like, were they better tactically? Were they better no, it was just like they tried harder, and that's going to get them a long way. What I'll be interested to see in the series, Swipa, is Adelman able to get out of those rhythms that we would have absolutely expected from Malone to be a little bit more creative, because it is no longer our formula is tried and true and proven and will work. It is, we have been a flawed team all year and we have to invent something new on the fly. That's exciting and work, but it's also risky.
So Vogt, when you look at because I've listened to you a lot on DNVR this year, talk about the state of the team, kind of just how you're feeling about what you're seeing from them and even what you're hearing. When you look at kind of the team, how it's resurged over the last week and a half, do you feel like this new energy is something that can carry over into the playoff setting? And how do you feel like the team might perform in light of this brand new resurrection they're having?
I mean, this stuff matters and this stuff is worth tracking. And then this stuff can all change so quickly, right? So the energy seems better now. You get punched in the mouth in game one. How's the energy? Flip that. You come out, you do the punching in the first two games as an exclamation point to what you've just put together in the last three. I think you're going to be in a situation where a team that does know how to do this together, maybe there's a snowballing confidence kind of factor of like, yeah, like maybe they can catch a buzz, right? Like of just, oh yeah, this is Nuggets basketball. We haven't had a taste of this all year and this is who we are. And we'll ride this, as far as we can take it. But this could all go, very, very differently. Like I would say that the good energy right now is what it is by default because the energy was so bad earlier in the year. I would say we are hearing some quotes that are nice to hear that we haven't heard since last season. I don't know if they're necessarily selling me on it. You know what I mean? I'd be curious to see how it looks if they play and don't play well in the first two games and how does holding each other accountable look? What's the energy like then? But there is a little bit of, I think once Malone is gone, it's for Adelman. I think there's this freedom of what's the worst that could happen? They fire you. You don't get this interim game. Like just go out there and coach. Just go out there and do what you have to do to win a game. And hopefully that kind of sort of freedom and feeling can help them get off on the right foot.
I actually want to get like a temperature check of the other guys, of Swipa and Ryan, like, because I think Brendan's point here is good, which is like, I'm not sure if I'm sold on that, right? Like you're saying the right things. The last three games were the right things contextually given the circumstances. Like Swipa, are you like, yes, like I believe I'm in? And Ryan in particular, I want to hear this from because of Ryan's proclivities.
Yeah, I think that I'm not a short sample size person. So for me, I am never going to believe something right away. It takes time. And I think you have to be able to show when you get in pressure situations like this, Jokic, per the DNVR account, I think that was you, Vogt, when he just talked about like what the expectations are, even just going into this game. He said, for me, it's the same thing. It's another game that we're supposed to win. And I think for the Nuggets, like a lot of this has just been their energy. If you come out flat and you come out like a team that is just kind of settling into things, you might get rocked by this Clippers team. And I think going down in the first half, or at least, Matt, to the point you've made for the last 2 years about this team, because the salary of your roster is made up in 4 separate players. If those 4 players are not setting the tone to start the game in a playoff game, it's likely not going to go well. But if they do the opposite of what they did versus the Wolves last year, and they come out and do what the Wolves did, then I actually think that will bode well for them for the rest of the series. I think how you start is going to be very reflective of how you finish, Ryan.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. I do actually feel more belief now than I did 2 weeks ago, most certainly.
For sure.
One of the big reasons for that is because I have listened to Jokic and Murray kind of sound the same. That's my general impression of that. They aren't overly reactive to what has happened here over the course of these last couple, but I think they both understand the burden that they are facing at this point. And having gone through this over the course of several years, having understood the ups and downs of this and what the actual energy load is going to have to be, I think that and Vogt said this as well, it's something I've said on Pickaxe, this is going to be a boulder rolling downhill if they get going. If they actually are able to find their stride, get going, and do the things that you're supposed to do, because this Clippers team is going to force them to build some good habits. It's going to force them to communicate. They're going to have to be very technically sound. And I do believe that if they get going in this one, I'll have I'm kind of feeling okay about them against the Thunder, which is insane because it's not the way that I felt about them or anywhere close to that throughout much of this season. But you start to look at it through the lens of, all right, so each of these guys are going to play 40 minutes. How do you fill in the gaps around them? If the other guys are filling in the gaps around them versus the way that they were not in so many of these instances, you start to have a little bit more of a positive outlook. And I kind of think that Adaman will help them get there.
Yeah. Look, on the other side, we're going to continue that part of the conversation, but we're going to get into the X factors, y'all. What will actually be the things that matter most in determining the outcome of this series for the Denver Nuggets? We'll talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Now, everybody know, when I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family. I had to give it a try myself. So let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear, fit, comfort, or just finding the right style. Skims changed all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. Now, y'all, I tried the Skims Stretch 5 boxer brief, y'all, and they are amazing, and I'm hooked. These are perfect for my active lifestyle. They move with me, never lose their shape, and they stay in place all day. Whether I'm walks with the dog, I'm at the gym, they're great. And when I'm working out or just running errands, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. Now, shop Skims at skims.com/LockedOnNBA in Skims stores. Let them know we sent you. And after you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. And y'all, there's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. And with Game Time, you can be a part of it without the stress of the last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Look, y'all, last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. The all-in pricing means no surprise fees at the checkout. What you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. We're back here for segment 2 of Locked On Nuggets. We got Vogt from DNVR with us, the GOAT himself, Matt Moore, Ryan Blackburn, and of course, me, little old Swipa. Y'all, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers on the YouTube side, y'all. We're on the way. Hey, NBA Finals run. Maybe get to 15,000. Who knows? But go ahead, hit that like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you're listening to this on the audio side, give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star review. That way, more and more people can listen to the great content being made here at Lockdown Nuggets. Also, we got a daily free newsletter from Matt Moore and Ryan Blackburn, 2 of the best writers in Colorado. But y'all already know that. You don't need me to tell you twice. Go ahead. Make sure you tap into LockedOnDaily.com and get the latest every single day. All right, y'all, we back. I need you to help me vote because I've been struggling with this. When you think about the X factors in this series for the Denver Nuggets, and let's even say maybe an X factor for the Los Angeles Clippers that the Nuggets have to worry about, who comes to mind for you, Vogt?
Two names. I mean, I think maybe the more obvious one is Aaron Gordon with the Kawhi Leonard matchup, but I think that's almost maybe too squarely in the spotlight, even for X Factor. So I'm gonna go Michael Porter Jr. staying on the floor defensively, particularly in the clutch, and also the Denver Nuggets defending Norman Powell, who I think is really the X factor in this series. And I think Kawhi is the best player on the Clippers. I don't think Kawhi is the one who breaks Denver's defense. I think Denver can trade tough twos with any team in the league, and I think Denver can trade tough twos with Kawhi Leonard, straight up. Not to say he's not going to do his thing and he's not impactful or anything like that. It's Denver can get twos with any team in the league. I feel that way. And so Kawhi doing his thing is navigable. The James Harden pick and roll defense is a real thing. I mean, anytime you put the Nuggets in rotation, they're screwed. But Powell really then, as a guy who's then either left open because of a breakdown or intentionally or whatever it is, a guy who can hit some threes. And, you know, the math game shouldn't, in theory, be a huge problem for Denver in this series. But Norman Powell, I always want to call him Normal Powell, I think is a guy who can kind of change that dynamic in this series. So I'll say Michael's defense and then Denver's defense on Powell for me are the X factors.
I think it's the battle between, and I've thought about this. It's one of the reasons why I put battle to keep MPJ on the floor. You've heard from a lot of Clippers fans about, okay, so who's guarding Michael Porter again? Is it going to be James Harden? Is it going to be Norman Powell? Are they moving Kawhi Leonard over there? So what happens to Aaron Gordon in that case? How does that affect Christian Brown? And for Denver, and you hear this from a lot of Nuggets fans, how do you guard Norman Powell? Is Jamal Murray going to guard Norman Powell? Is Michael Porter going to guard Norman Powell? We don't fully know yet, and the matchups are all going to get scrambled anyway throughout most of these games. But I just think that those third option types, whether it's Powell or whether it's Porter, like how much do they each individually impact the flow of the game, and how much is their individual offense hurting the opposing defense? So much so that it forces those teams to make adjustments, because I think it might force, like if Norman Powell's is 25 in the middle of the third quarter, you're going to start to see some serious adjustments there. And I think you could probably say the same thing about Porter and the Clippers. Are they going to move Kawhi over there? Do they play Batum instead of somebody like Chris Dunn and then have him guard Aaron Gordon? Do they flip-flop those matchups? There's a lot of things that they could try to do to bother Denver, and I think they'll try to account for Porter as much as they can.
I think Batum's actually going to guard Jokic, and Zoo's going to play Gordon, which is why Aaron continuing to hit 40% from three is going to be a big deal. Porter can't play in the series, man. I can't find any way for him to be able to play here.
Anyway?
There's no matchup. There's no way to hide. There's no scenario. I can't find one, because any Clipper that gets his assignment, they get to rest defensively. I think Kawhi's actually going to guard him a lot, because they're just going to be like, Kawhi, you get to play free safety and rest defensively on MPJ. And then you'll be able to have enough energy for the offensive side. Like, that's just what he's going to do. And if it's, okay, then Gordon gets a mismatch. If you're the Clippers, you're probably like, all right, Aaron Gordon, beat us in the post. You want to post up whoever it is that we put on you? You want to post up Norman Powell? You want to post up whatever DJJ when he's in? Sure, go ahead. No problem. We'll live with that offense all day long. On the other side, Mike's been better when he's been switched and he's in isolation defense. Sometimes he actually steps up in those situations. Harden's just a different one. It's just different. Now, when I looked at the matchups, I think Christian can do a great job getting over the top of the screen. I think Peyton can do a great job getting over the top of the screen. Like, all you really want to do is prevent the step back three. Don't give up the switch. Make him get downhill and prevent the lob. If Harden's killing you with floaters, you're just gonna have to live with it. Like, you're just gonna have to live with it. But like, Peyton's got the length to be able to contest him from the weak side. I love Peyton in this matchup. I think Peyton's going to have a lot of advantages in this matchup because him and Christian are in the same spot where I think Christian's going to have a massive series because they're going to have to put Powell or Harden on him, and they're both great cutters. And both those guys, Powell just ball watches. It's not that he's lazy. He just ball watches, and Harden just absolutely just stands. He just stands there, and you can cut past him. And like, there's all these possessions that I found of even some that Christian missed in the regular season that he's going to make now because he's such a better finisher than he was even to start the year. He's going to be able to eat. And Peyton, I think, can do the same kind of stuff. I think Peyton's able to have a really great offensive series. But if we run into this thing where it's like, well, we got here with Mike. Mike was part of the core. Mike helped win his title, so we got to play Mike. I don't know, man. I just feel like he is easy to scheme out defensively for the Clippers and easy to attack offensively. I do not see a scenario in which Mike can play a lot in the series. I'm at like, hey, maybe better to just like bring him off the bench by game 3. That's how bad I see this matchup.
Wow.
So some of this is, to your point, Jamal Murray, the only thing that I've noticed that he's graded out well at as like a positive this year on the perimeter is actually his ball screen navigation. So that's really his only true asset. He's not a sit-down defender, not an all-ball defender, not great off-ball either. And some of this is just going to be, are you holding up well? Because y'all know, every time the Clippers and Nuggets play, and Kawhi has been available in the last 2 years, one of the things they do in the fourth quarter, they try to get as many switches with Kawhi onto Jamal in the post and to see if they can take advantage of that size difference in that matchup. And the other thing, to your point, I don't think it's a Julian Strawther series at all, like in any way, shape, or form. He's easily, maybe in the Western Conference, the easiest matchup for James Harden possible. And I think that Michael Porter Jr. is not too far away from that. And some of this is Michael just does not have the agility to move side to side. But on this end, Matt, I do think that if I told you, Matt, that Porter is having a Lakers series where he shot 21 points a game or whatever, 28, 19 points a game, but he has like a 65 true shooting because it's off-ball shooting. It's just going ham. And he's driving the ball well enough, and he's rebounding at a high enough level. I think that is actually a means for him to play. But to your point, closing with him defensively, that's going to be the problem. And I think that's where Peyton Watson has to be.
Even then, let's say that they use Kawhi, that they put Kawhi on him and use Kawhi to roam, right? Because Kawhi can recover back on him. Do you want Mike driving against Kawhi? Is there any situation in which you want Michael Porter Jr. driving against Kawhi?
No, but you do want run Kawhi through screens, right? Listen, I know they don't necessarily do a ton of this with Mike, but it is a way to exhaust him. It is one way to mitigate the way he's an all-star defender
or just force to switch,
or all-star capable defender, right? Or like even the fact that he's guarding Mike, does that make life that much easier for Murray and for Gordon and for Jokic?
I think.
Yeah, you talked about this too, Matt. Like it's the Kawhi defense where you send his guy to the corner. And Mike is spacing at that point, and it allows everybody else to play 4-on-4. Like it's a pretty reasonable tactic.
Yeah, and I think that actually can work. It's just like on the other end, is he giving you enough, right? Sure. I think that can work if you just put him weak side and you're just like, I just need you to keep Kawhi honest. Just keep Kawhi. Yeah. If he helps off, you got to shoot immediately. Like, that's gonna be a big key for him. He can't overthink it. If Kawhi helps off and Jokic gets him the ball, he's got to get it up immediately. He's got to knock him down because you got to basically punish Kawhi for helping off in any capacity.
I almost feel like Mike, forget scoring, forget what it takes to average 18. Like, you have to take these shots. You are the guy that keeps the defense honest in a way that no one else on this roster does. Right. So if that means taking a 3 you're not as confident in, as opposed to driving, be confident in that 3 instead. Be ready to shoot in the corner every single time. I think there's some of his sacrifice is going to be maybe you shoot 37% from 3 because some of them were tougher, but you have to do it. You have to keep him honest. So I agree with that. Matt, we talked a little bit about in certain situations having Porter guard Kawhi. I know you and I have talked about that a little bit. As on its face laughable as it sounds, I think there's just something. Yeah, like I think anyone ISOing one of Denver's defenders to hunt for two is preferable to putting in this team in rotation. Like you could get a corner three every time you want. Anytime someone seeks out Mike on a switch, I'm like, good thought. And then when they ISO him instead of, I'm like, just ask for a screen. You will score. So I wonder if you can almost honeypot them into like, play ISO ball against Mike. You're probably going to score a lot. We have Jokic. We can handle your twos. We've got our twos.
Like Kawhi doesn't want to take a screen, get to the mid range and do he wants to take a pull up jumper. Kawhi's not looking to burst past the screen, run past Jokic and dunk the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He might do it once, but like, that's not what he's looking for, and if he isolates, and if Kawhi in particular, if you deny the 3-point shot, this is a lot of it is neither of these teams take a lot of threes. This is a very 2-point weighted series. And I have a lot of confidence that Denver's overall offense is better than the Clippers. And like the numbers bear that out. Like I had to upgrade the Clippers dramatically over the last 5 days looking at all the data. But even then, if you look at with Kawhi on the floor in this stretch where they've been so good, the Nuggets offense is still better with Yoke. So it's like if the Nuggets make this an offensive series, they're good. They're going to win. They can win the series if it's an offensive series. What they can't do is they can't get this into like a struggle slugfest. They're never going to win that matchup. And that's why the more Kawhi, because it's all tough shots, even as efficient as he is a preferable outcome than getting in rotation behind James Harden's mechanics.
Look, on the other side, we're going to finish this conversation as well as give our final predictions for what we expect from a Nuggets Clippers series. We'll talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices, no console required. Just grab your pair controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Now, you get endless entertainment with this. With 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribe services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Now, look, I'm telling y'all need to tap in. If you love gaming, this is your place to be. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire Stick TV 4K, 2nd Gen, Fire Stick TV Stick 4K Max, 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube, 3rd Gen. We'll be back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. We are back here for the final segment of Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swipa. I'm here with Vogt. I'm here with Brian Blackburn. I'm here with Matt Moore. Matt, in your ideal scenario, I think the most important question that I actually have about this, in the non-Jokic minutes, what should the Nuggets 5-man be to be able to not just survive, but maybe even win some stretches over the course of this series?
Aaron Gordon, Zeke Naji, Peyton Watson. Pass. Jalen Pickett. Like you could pick Russ or Julian. It's death either way.
Jamal.
Russ is gonna make mistakes that are gonna kill you. Julian's defense is so bad that Bogdanovich is gonna rip you to pieces. The good news is the Clippers rotation, assuming that they keep it relatively close to what they've done over this last stretch of games when they were competing for a playoff spot, which I think they will. It's Kawhi and no Harden in the non-Jokic minutes. So you get Kawhi and Powell.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think you can probably play a little bit more towards offense in those stretches. Like I kind of like having Julian spacing on the floor. But I think you do need Pickett. I think you got to have Peyton, obviously, coming off the bench there. Unless he's starting, in which case Mike is fine. And I do actually think, as much as like I argue initially with Zeke when Ryan and I were talking about, I was like, really, you want Zeke Naji in this spot? And I'm kind of at the point looking at the matchups where I'm like, okay, if the job is just I need you to mirror Nicholas Batum, switch every screen, and rebound against, and not rebound, don't get killed by your guy on offensive rebounds. That's doable for Zeke. Space the floor around Aaron. That's doable. So that to me is probably the lineup. I would probably go Jalen, Julian, Peyton, Zeke, and Aaron.
Can we sub Jamal in that situation?
Yeah. Jamal, that's the answer. Jamal, Jalen. That's it. Jamal, Jalen, Peyton, Zeke, and Aaron. There we go.
I think that's the right call. And just having looked at all these lineups and all these different combinations, like the Jalen Jamal minutes are really good, and they have been reasonably solid even without Joker out there as well. The Russ dynamic is going to be fascinating, and I do think that you want to have him out there at times with Joker, and he may close games. I am dead serious about this. Like, he may close half of the games in this series, and Nuggets fans are going to have to get ready for that. They're going to have to get comfortable with that, and Russ is going to have to be ready for it too. But I do think that in these non-Jokic minutes, what you want is steadiness. You want to get a shot up. You want defensive switchability, and he can do the defensive switchability part. There's no doubt about it. But in terms of what you're looking for from a lineup perspective, I think you want spacing and defense around what Jamal and AG are going to do. And I think that Jalen probably provides that just a little bit more. And yet, like, if Jalen isn't playing that well, it's perfectly reasonable to throw Russ into that spot, and you're probably still going to be fine. You might even like win some battles because you are forcing turnovers and forcing misses.
What about you, Vogt? What do you think?
He will do that, Adelman. I think Adelman will do that. I think people maybe misunderstood it as he likes Pickett more than Russ. I think Adelman is, who are my 6 guys tonight? What do you have for me tonight? Oh, you look good. You're playing. You don't, less minutes, right? So I think so. I mean, Russ is probably going to play. But as far as ideal lineups, I certainly get where you guys are coming from. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Blackburn, Mr. Rotation Man.
User
Zeke caught 3 DNPs under David Adelman, right, to close the season?
Yes, he did. This is definitely a situation where he wasn't involved that much in those important Adelman minutes.
Yeah, just kind of just curious how Adelman feels about Zeke, but I certainly get where you guys are coming from on paper.
I mean, look, if you want to do, as long as Harden's not out there, I don't dread the idea of DeAndre minutes, but I still feel like Bogdanovich is going to be like, gimme. Like, you just, unless they're running out a lineup that's only Kawhi, if they've got any guard with pick and roll shake, you can't have DJ out there. You've got to be able to switch it, and your only option there, I think, is Zeke.
I'm okay with Watson, Porter, Gordon as the 3-4-5 in those minutes. Like, you have Kawhi out there, you don't have Harden. I understand that Bogdanovich is going to be good, but like, isn't it a little bit better to not be hunted by Harden in that situation and get Porter back out there for spacing purposes?
Yeah, I don't mind that. Especially like, I actually now that I think about it, I do like it. That allows you to start and play Porter while also being like, we're going to limit his minutes against Harden.
Yeah.
Like, he starts with Harden in the game. He's one of the first subs out, and then you bring him back in when Harden exits. That to me, I think, is actually like a really good way to do that without killing his confidence.
Yeah, so I think my projected second unit with non-Jokic is going to be Jamal Murray, Jalen Pickett, Zeke Naji, Michael Porter, and then Aaron Gordon. It's probably the 5 that I would go with. And I think Russell Westbrook and Peyton Watson tie them as much to Joker as possible. All right, so final prediction for the series. Vogt, you up first. What do you think the series will be at the end?
I'm a coward on this one. I'm taking Nuggets in 7 with the understanding that either one of these teams could do it in less than 7. But I think this is the biggest series that on paper, like just 4-5 seeding, sure, what could happen? And then also, does anyone even know what to expect from the Denver Nuggets? No. How long will Kawhi Leonard last? Maybe the whole time. Also, maybe not. I think there are a lot of unpredictable variables in this one. I'm going to say Nuggets in 7 because I'm going to take Jokic to make it out of the first round, even with everything that they've gone through this season. But I'm not expecting the Nuggets to roll over the Clippers.
Right.
I'm going Nuggets in 6. I feel strangely, like really strangely, more confident in them at this point. just based off of the way that they have responded over the course of these last couple weeks and just how things were looking bad, things were looking uncomfortable, and you just have to be willing to put up in this situation. And because I think that there's a lot of belief in that, like, hey, the issues that they were facing over the course of this entire season were self-made in some ways. It wasn't a situation where they were being bothered by a whole bunch of what other teams were doing. It was what they were doing to themselves. And if you get out of your own way and you play with a more poise, with more pace, with more attention to detail and a little bit more grit, then you can talk yourself into, all right, the team that is going to be extremely technical against them, the team that's going to be pretty physical against them, I could absolutely see them figuring that out. The other thing is I just believe in Joker and Jamal. Like, Jamal in this situation, I feel pretty comfortable with. And as long as he's healthy out there, as long as he's playing and moving in the right way, I think that he will deliver in these moments.
I have confidence the Nuggets can get to the place that Ryan is hopeful they're at. But I can't predict it. I need to see them come out and do it. And then, you guys know me, I'll hop on way too quickly and then probably pick them to win, and then they'll lose in the next round. But I'm going to wait till they do it before. But then, Ryan, I think I'm there with you. Like, I do. There are still 5 guys on this team who are real darn good together and know how to do this together and have done this together. And so I think there's a version of this team in there, but I got to see them be that team.
Sure.
I took the Nuggets over the Clippers in 2020. That was an unpopular pick at the time. I took the Nuggets over the Wolves last year in 5. That was a bit optimistic. When I started to work on this, my initial gut reaction was Nuggets in 6. I actually think Jamal's in a really good place to be able to beat Dunn and put himself back on the map. I still think that there's a lot of matchup advantages, Christian Brown in particular, that go towards the Nuggets. My problem is like when I've cycled everything down and looked at it from a broader perspective, the Clippers have been a better team. They just have been a better team on the course of the season and with this team right now. And I do not, it doesn't feel right to me, but brain wise, I'm on Nuggets in 6, but brain wise, I'm taking Clippers in 6. I think they get the job done because this defense has been terrible all year. It's terrible because of effort. It's terrible because of scheme. And execution of scheme. It's terrible because of personnel. All of these things combined, the effort should be higher. Like, there's a lot that things can happen. Like, Joker engaging at the level on Harden to force the reset makes a huge difference. I wrote about that yesterday on the Dig. It just makes a huge difference. I don't know what to expect from them possession by possession. I can't rely on them. I can rely on the Clippers defensively, and I can honestly rely on the Clippers offensively. They're not going to be efficient, but they're going to be consistent. And I can't say the same for Denver. So until they can show me that, Clippers in 6.
Yeah, this is my 3rd time making this take. My initial gut is always just telling me Clippers in 6. I am, again, not a short sample size person. I've never been. I feel like
small sample size. In my community, we prefer the term small sample size.
You're right. Small sample size. You're correct. You're correct, Bo. Excuse me. I apologize to the Short Kings community. Some of this is Ryan and Matt. You've heard me all year. I do not like bad effort. I think if you're not executing at the proper level defensively, I mean, just from personnel standpoint, I have complained to you all year about where this team is. So the thing is they can't do it. Like, I am already told you, Ryan, if they beat the Clippers in 5 or 6, I can see them beating the Thunder. But that's because they're playing at a higher floor and playing more near their ceiling than the fact that their floor has been so low. And I really try to be objective about stuff like this. Like, when I pick the Nuggets in series, I pick it because, man, basketball reasons, I can see it. I think the Clippers have just been a better basketball team. And the fact that they don't have these crazy lulls, like, that's an important thing. But first 2 games of the series, if they come out and they take care of business, then, yeah, like, then it's a whole different story. But at some point in time, you got to show me who you are. And if Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, if those 4 core champions come out and they punch them in the mouth and they deal with it with Kawhi Leonard and them, then we're having a different conversation. But this is what it is, man. But y'all, let us know what you think in the comment section of who you think is going to win this series. Who is going to be the X factor of this series for the Denver Nuggets and for the Clippers? What will it take for the Denver Nuggets to get you on board with getting through this series and making another run at an NBA championship? That's Vogt, DNVR. That's Matt, Locked On Nuggets. That's Ryan, Mile High Sports, Locked On Nuggets. Shout out to you all. This is Swipa. See you on the other side.